What's going on, guys? This is Derek Ledwidge from Strive Fitness Performance. And today I'm going to go over how to survive the holidays, namely the different strategies that we have our one-on-one nutrition clients sort of focus on during the months of pretty much November and December, right? The main time frame where things get chaotic, right? Motivation's down as it gets like colder generally. Here in Michigan, it's starting to snow a little bit. It's even snowing today. Got a little bit cold today, and so motivation's down. Things get chaotic. There's a bunch of different events coming up, and so usually people sort of easily get into the effort stage, and even if they got a whole bunch of great results during the fall, right? Like for us, we just finished our Strive 45 weight loss challenge and people did great, right? Even our nutrition clients, a lot of them just finished their fat loss phase, right? Lost like 10, 15 pounds, something like that. And most people gain it back during the holiday season because of all those different reasons. And it's super easy to just fall off, right? And so today we're going to talk about the different strategies on what you can focus on, how to keep yourself laser focused during the holidays so that you're not falling into the trap of gaining back the weight that you just lost, or just constantly, falling to the habit of losing 5 to 10 pounds, gaining 5 to 10 pounds, going back and forth. And so that way we're in a better spot going into January and February when times really get on point and gets a little bit more prime for getting those fat loss results that most people want. Right. So that's what we're going to be going over today. As always, if you're watching this live, make sure you comment live below, or if you're watching the replay, click replay or comment replay below, so that way I can sort of see when people are watching this. All right, so on to the holidays. Well, why do most people struggle during the holidays, right? We talked about how, motivation's super, super high in the spring and the fall, right? Motivation's really, really low during the winter, right? Mainly because it's cold. I don't really want to do anything, right? It's just more of a blah stage. In Michigan, it's very, very gray out during that time. You don't really want a whole lot of motivation. And also, a lot more stuff happening during the holidays, right? We have a bunch of events. There's a lot of these highly palatable like foods, sugary snacks, pastries, right? Stuff like that. Alcohol for some people. All these different events happening during the holiday season. Not just the holidays themselves, but the main thing is all of the events that are happening. It seems like there's always something going on, right? And it sort of gets you in a chaotic mess to where all of a sudden now you sort of lose track over what you're at. You almost lose control of what's going on because you're, used to doing something here, and all of a sudden it's a new one, right? And it's pretty common. That's the first step, right? You have to realize that this is pretty common. This is when it's like things are happening, right? Second step is to realize that you're probably not going to lose weight during this time. Even if you want to lose weight, overall, you're probably not going to. But you have to understand that there is, and we talk about this a lot of times when we talk about like phasic nutrition, right? The different phases of your nutrition plan, right? The fat loss phase, the maintenance phase, the transition phase between the two, stuff like that. Most people are going to go into a maintenance phase during this time, or even a muscle building phase. And it's important to realize that you're not a failure if you're not losing weight, right? So keep that in mind. So how do we get through this, right? Basically, I have 3 separate goals or stuff to focus on during this time frame, and we try to make it as simple as possible, because the more stress that you're stressing about, right, you have all this other stress happening. The more you're stressed over here, the less you're going to be adhering to it, all right? And that's really what causes people to sort of fall off the wagon, go into the effort phase. Number 1, get a calendar and mark down, or you can even write out all of the events that you're going to have during these next 2 months, right? Right now we're close to Thanksgiving, so that's usually one of the biggie ones, right? Now this video is not going to be about how to handle the events, right? That's going to be a separate video. This one is going to be how to handle all of the months, right? So find a calendar, or just simply write it out too. Write out all the different events, right? It can be like 1 through 10, 1 through 5, whatever you might want to do, right? All of the events that you know are going to happen, right? It could be work parties, it could be Friendsgiving, it could be Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, making cookies, cinnamon rolls on Christmas Eve, stuff like that. It could be, going out with your significant other, whatever you want to do, right? List out all the events that are going to happen. Then what you're going to do, because usually there's a lot of them, what you're going to do is you're going to rank them, right, on which ones you actually give a shit about, right? So, and this means the simply fact, number 10 might be, hey, I'm going to a musical, right? Or I'm going to a work party and I don't really give a shit about half the people that I'm working with. So it means very, very little to me, right? Whereas at the top, it might be, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day dinner, right? Why? Because there's a whole bunch of pie, right? I really like pumpkin pie, I like apple pie. I'm going to have all of these different things because that's the only time I'm ever going to have them during the year, right? So that means more to me. It could be making cookies with your kids, right? I'm probably going to have a couple of those cookies without feeling like a piece of shit, right? So all of those things, they actually matter to me, right? And so you're going to rank all of these. And so now instead of looking at the months as, oh my God, I have all these events, now all of a sudden, maybe you have 2 or 3, maybe 4 events that you actually care about, right? And what I would do is mark them on the calendar. And so now you see all of these dates, but you also see all the other days of the week, the other weekends that you can actually be on point, right? And now all of a sudden you have that clarity to where it's not that chaotic actually. You can actually really focus on some of these things and just don't turn into a full-on shit show during these times. Most of the time people fall off because they either A, turn full-on shit show, or they don't, but then they feel guilty. So then the next 5 weeks is shitty, right? So now keep that in mind as you start going through there, right? Again, we're not trying to lose weight. We are trying to maintain during this time. Our overall goal is to last as long as humanly possible of getting full-on shit show. And again, 6 weeks, not that much, right? We can easily do this. So, right. So that's going to be the next part. That's going to be the first part, right? You make clarity and you become a little bit more laser focused. So what do we do on the other days, right? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to make a list of minimums, right? Usually I do like 2 to 3. We don't want to go full on stressed here, right? We're not tracking macros unless you want to, right? These are simple things, right? Maybe it's going to the gym 2 days a week. We're not going 5 like we did before. Maybe you can, but we're going maybe 2. What's your bare minimum, right? It might be that. It might be journaling. It might be reading. It might be, watching your snacks. It might be getting protein at every single meal. It could literally be anything, right? And we want to go for about 2 to 3, maybe 4. And we want these to be our minimums. These are going to be the things that anchor us to reality, pretty much. When shit hits the fan, I know I did this. It anchors you back down and gets you back into place. These are massively important because when you go off the rails or when you get really like chaotic times around you, having those anchors bring you back down, and now so you can keep on going. Right? It's massively important and it's huge, huge, huge for people, right? So you're going to get 2 to 3 and you're going to figure all of that stuff out. What are going to be the things that no matter what, on your shittiest day, you're going to be able to do? It could be virtually anything. It doesn't have to be anything crazy that's going to equal losing weight or anything like that. No matter what, at the end of the week, shittiest week ever, I'm going to be able to do these more times than not, right? That's what you're holding yourself true. Right. So that's what we do on the other days. The last thing is it really helps if you are in a gym, not necessarily group training, but you're in a gym where you can actually lift a little bit of weights. Assume that you're going to be eating more calories during this month. So what are we going to do? We are going to lift a little bit heavier. Focus on lifting more. Right? Don't have to lift like 400 pounds, but try to always lift a little bit more. If you're using 10s, try and use 12s, try and use 15s, stuff like that. That's really what we're trying to do. Why? Because you're going to be eating more calories. So why not use those calories to build more muscle, right? Most of these calories are going to be coming from carbs, right? So that's what we want to do, right? We're going to be like, hey, I'm assuming I'm eating more calories anyway. Let me do this. And not only am I maintaining if I don't go in full on shit show, but now I can actually build and recover myself from the dieting that I just did. Even though it's not what your overall goal is, it actually sets yourself up with more muscle, and higher calories a little bit. So now when you do go into a fat loss phase in January, you actually have more muscle. So now the fat loss phase becomes a little bit easier, right? And now you can actually keep on losing without gaining 20 pounds and then trying to get it off again, right? So those are your 3 things on how to handle the holiday season, right? I'm going to have another video on how to handle the events, but that is how to handle the season as a whole, right? If you have any questions whatsoever, or if you want to post your anchors below as well too, so we can see it, can make it a little bit more real, post it underneath there. If you have any questions, comment below, and I'll answer them. I always look at these lives afterwards, so I'll always answer any type of questions that are there, or comment on any of them as well too. Other than that, hope you guys have a great holiday season.